Directions. Determine each type of question: prediction, inference, detail, big picture, or connection. Shade the question the correct color. Answer each question using complete sentences. This is a Cask of Amontillado reimagined, Shortish story number 4. Fortunata was a bitch, pure and simple. She fooled a lot of other people, but she never fooled me. I can smell insincerity a mile away, and Fortunata reeked of it. I like your purse, Monica. I hope you have a nice trip, Monica. You're such a good tennis player, Monica. Fortunata was always paying me backhanded compliments like that. When she unfollowed me on Instagram, though, I'd had enough. It was the final insult that pushed me over the edge. I wasn't going to put up with a snub like that. All right, pause to answer a couple of questions. Number 1. Why does Monica say she hates Fortunata? Number 2. Do you think Fortunata is being cruel towards Monica, or do you think Monica is overreacting? On Halloween, I told the maid I was going out to a party and wouldn't be home all night, but that she should stay there to keep an eye on the place. I figured that would be a guarantee that she'd take off with her boyfriend 5 minutes after I walked out the door, but she would never admit she hadn't done exactly what I asked. Fortunata always hangs out at whatever the hottest club of the moment is. It was a safe bet I'd find her at the Halo bar. Sure enough, that's where I found her. I wore a generic cat costume with a black wig and a mask. I blended in with all the other partiers at the club. It wasn't hard to find Fortunata. She was predictably touching up her makeup in the bathroom. I was surprised and secretly delighted to hear her sniffling. All right, pause for a moment to answer a question. Number 3. Why do you think Monica is working to create an alibi that she is at home, then showing up at the bar wearing a generic cat costume that blends in with the rest of the crowd at the bar? Anything wrong? I asked her, feigning concern. Just a head cold, she said, blowing her nose. I've been stuffed up all day. Let me buy you a drink, I said. You're so sweet, thank you. I'd love one, but I've taken a ton of cold medicine, she said. It wouldn't be a good idea. I knew exactly what to say to change her mind. That's too bad, I said, sounding as casual as I could. I just got a case of Krug 2008 Brut, but I'm kind of worried it might be fake since the price was so good. I was hoping I could get you to swing by to open a bottle with me, but if you're too sick, I understand. That got her attention. Fortunata loved expensive champagne. She considered herself an expert on the subject. A case of 2008 Krug Brut, really? Fortunata said. That's an amazing year from that vineyard. Where did you find an entire case? I think the most I've ever seen stocked anywhere was 2 bottles, and that was at the Ritz. Some broker online in Paris, I said. That's why I'm worried it could be fake. But like I said, if you're too sick... No, Fortunata interrupted. No, I'm okay. I'd love to check it out. Let's go then, I said, hiding a smile. But first, let's grab that drink. Maybe just one, Fortunata said. All right, pause to answer a few more questions. Number 4. Why doesn't Fortunata want to drink any alcohol at first? Number 5. What is 2008 Krug Brut? Number 6. Why do you think Monica wants Fortunata to come back to her house? She ended up having 3. I had water. By the time we started walking uptown to my place, she was so drunk she could barely walk. She was laughing and hugging me. It made me want to puke, but I played along. When we got to the house, the maid was gone, as predicted. I led Fortunata down the steps to the wine cellar. Wow, this place is huge, she said, tripping over her own feet as she looked at the walls of wine. Where's the case of Krug? I could really go for a glass. This cold is making me so thirsty. Oh, yes, you're cold, I exclaimed, full of fake concern. I forgot you'd taken all that cold medicine. Maybe I should call you a cab and get you home. I mean, you probably shouldn't have any more alcohol, right? One more glass won't kill me, Fortunata said. Besides, you need to know if it's real, don't you? Stupid, greedy Fortunata. This was even easier than I thought it would be. If you insist, I said, but be careful. We're doing some renovations down here. Don't trip over any of the paint cans or tools. I led her farther into the wine cellar. Far in the back, there was an alcove cut into the rock wall. It's in there, I said, pointing into the alcove. Just as I said, there was a full case of 2008 Krug Brut. Fortunata picked up a bottle and looked at it carefully. Okay, pause to answer a couple of questions. Number 7. What is Monica's attitude towards Fortunata? Number 8. What words from the text allowed you to make that inference? Go back and highlight 2 examples of evidence that told you how she feels about Fortunata. It looks real, she said. Do you mind if I pop the cork? Be my guest, I said, handing her a crystal champagne flute. She poured a glass and held it to the light. The color is right, she said. Wait, where's your glass? I wouldn't feel right taking the first glass. It's yours. I want you to have it, I said. Go ahead, enjoy. She took a mouthful and swallowed. Delicious, she said. I need to get the name of that winebroker from you. Fortunata stumbled. Whew, she said. It's going straight to my head. I'm dizzy. Sit down, I said, before you pass out. She was asleep on the floor within minutes. I dragged her into the alcove and worked quickly, placing stones and mortar to close up the opening with Fortunata inside. Finally, I was paying her back for everything she had done to me. I placed the last stone when I heard a very faint cry from behind the wall. By the time I was 20 feet away, I couldn't hear her at all. Cheers, I cried. Enjoy the champagne. All right, your final questions here. Number 9. Summarize what Monica did to Fortunata. Number 10. What do you think is going to happen to Fortunata? Number 11. Do you think Fortunata deserved what happened to her? Why or why not? All right, finally, you've got a writing prompt to respond to. If you follow the steps in this prompt, you'll be left with a 5-sentence paragraph. So follow the steps below. So the question is, why did Monica kill Fortunata? So for your first sentence, write one sentence that gives your reason why Monica killed Fortunata. Write a second sentence that gives one piece of text evidence that proves that your reason is correct. Write a third sentence that explains why the evidence you chose proves that your reason is correct. Write a fourth sentence that gives another piece of evidence that proves your reason is correct. Write a fifth sentence that explains why the second piece of evidence you chose proves that your reason is correct.